March 19th, 1983 was the last time anyone saw 12-year-old David Warner. To this day, nobody really knows where he went and if he's still alive. The last confirmed sighting of David was at a local restaurant, but nobody knows where he went from there, and he wouldn't be reported missing until the following day. Investigators are still actively investigating his case, hoping that someone will come forward and give them the missing piece that finally brings David home. It's our 25th week, and we are in Tennessee. David's mother was a teenager when he was born, and his grandmother would legally adopt and raise him. Despite the adoption, David was still close to his mother, and in 1983, David was a 4th grade student at Jefferson City Elementary and struggled academically and had to repeat the year. His loved ones described him as bright, streetwise, and a pleasant boy. His friends and family say that he was extremely friendly, even to strangers, and they believe he could have easily been lured into a stranger's car. On March 2nd, 1983, after school, David said he was going to the church up the street from his home on Bullard Avenue. David was spotted outside of the church, but he didn't go inside. Instead, he headed over to Druthers Restaurant. At the time, the restaurant was doing a special where if you presented a report card with a good grade, you would get a free meal. David had just gotten his report card and he had an A in physical education, so the restaurant gave him a free hamburger. From there, investigators and family don't really know where David went. There are different reports from those in the community, one even from a friend saying that he was there at his house watching TV until about 7 p.m. David's family didn't realize that he wasn't home that night because when they went to check in on him, they looked at his bed and it looked like he was asleep in it. The next morning, when they discovered that he wasn't sleeping in his bed, they figured he most likely spent the night at a friend's house, which he often did. When David's family realized he was missing and reported him to investigators later that day, investigators initially believed that he was most likely a runaway, but his family insisted that this was not the case. Investigators would receive a tip early on that David was living in Florida with his cousin and his biological father, but they chased that lead down and it was discounted. Investigators did seek out David's biological father and interview him, and he told them that he had no idea where his son was. Investigators did switch gears and classified David as a missing person and launched a large search effort. David's picture was put on milk cartons, newspapers, flyers, and post office walls, and leads began pouring in, but unfortunately, no trace of David was ever found. Sergeant Reff, who was assigned to David's case in 2024, told 6 News they have continued to actively investigate his case. He said the police department has searched old septic systems in the area where David lived. They also used cadaver dogs to search abandoned homes in the area where David lived and continue to interview people whose names came up in the investigation, to include someone who has been on death row for over 40 years. Sergeant Reff said there are many theories in David's case. Some believe he was kidnapped and taken to Florida, and others think that he is still in the area, but they do suspect foul play in his case. Sergeant Reff said the most frustrating part about David's case is not knowing what happened to David, saying, quote, "The most frustrating part is that, we have no idea what happened to David. He just disappeared. And it's trying to find the cliche needle in a haystack just to find the one little thing that will get us to locate David or remains and to be able to do something with the case." End quote. He said that every lead that comes in still gets investigated, and even if he retires from the department before this case is solved, it will go to another detective's desk and the case will continue to be actively investigated. At the time of David's disappearance, he was 12 years old, around 5'2", weighing around 110 pounds, and he was wearing a black and white Pittsburgh Steelers sweatshirt, blue jeans, and sneakers. He is described as a Caucasian male with blonde hair and brown eyes. His nickname is Little David. If you have any information on David's disappearance, you are asked to contact the Jefferson City Police Department at 615-475-2002. Please continue to share David's face in his case. Investigators want to bring him home to his family. Thank you so much for taking the time to get to know David today, and don't forget, when you see those missing and murdered posts on social media, hit like and share, because every time we share a face, we get closer to solving a case. And I will see you all back here tomorrow for another day in Tennessee.